What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka Allfires. The end of Spider-Man No Way Home left us with a ton of questions, some of which I don't think will be answered until we see those characters again, namely, what's going on with the future of Peter Parker in the MCU? How will he ever cross over with future Sony villains like Morbius and Kraven? Maybe more specifically, Venom, who just as soon as he made it into the MCU, got yanked back out, and we never really established how he knew of Peter Parker in the first place. There were a ton of theories. Well, today, writers on the film Eric Sommers and Chris McKenna weighed in and explained exactly how he knew of Peter Parker. The connection not as obvious as, say, Willem Dafoe to Tobey Maguire's iteration of Peter Parker. We're breaking that down, as well as their discussion about how Venom could have maybe made it into the final scene, been the sixth villain in the film and in the final battle, and why that just didn't work out. We're breaking down everything officially confirmed by the writers for Spider-Man No Way Home and Venom's involvement. But first, if you could grab the subscribe button. We do daily Marvel content here at this channel, and that's all we do. Everything from the anonymous 4chan plot leak, industry insider scoop, all the way to the official Easter egg breakdowns, trailers, recaps, and everything in between. So if that sort of thing's for you, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below. That'll automatically enter you to win the giveaway for the next PlayStation 5, which is at 920,000 subscribers. We could easily hit that this weekend. Stick around to the end of the video. We'll get into all the giveaway stuff again there. So as I mentioned in the prologue, this is coming directly from the writers themselves, Eric Sommers and Chris McKenna, on the film in an interview with Variety, explaining exactly how Eddie Brock's Venom knew of this Peter Parker, why he crossed over into the MCU. Quote, "The idea is that the symbiote has knowledge of other universes. Buried in his brain is some knowledge of that connection. The most important thing is this wasn't just a bunch of fan service. It wasn't going to be just a curtain call for everybody. We had to figure out a way that this movie told the story of Peter Parker right now, organically coming off where the last movie left off. That's always been our North Star. Yeah, it's a big fun idea. Let's not forget Peter. You can get lost in the mix. It has to be his emotional journey." So they're confirming that when we heard in the Venom post-credit scene that he shares 80 billion years of hive knowledge, it's one of the other symbiotes, one of the other iterations of Venom that has a memory of Peter Parker and Spider-Man, not Eddie Brock. That's why at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home in the post-credit scene, Eddie Brock says, "Maybe I should talk to this Peter Parker he's never met before." Assumably, neither has this Venom symbiote. It's just part of the hive knowledge. They're confirming that. That was one of the major theories. It was my theory as well. It's now confirmed by the writers. Now, speaking of which, and in that same Variety interview, they confirmed, the quote is, "It was definitely discussed that Venom would have been included in the final battle and rounded out the Sinister Six, truly became the sixth villain in the film. But Venom, like some other characters, it just wasn't their destiny to make it in." And this is what they had to say about how crazy the script got and why they had to pare it back a bit. Quote, "Let's write a script that is the kitchen sink and we'll act like we're going to get everything we wish for. And like Peter's wish, it became a nightmare and required some very, very talented people to help us not die in the end. We went down different roads with different characters that just didn't fit." We can't get into the details of that because it might be the kind of thing where they'll find a way to explore those ideas. So I'd hate to spoil anything because I think we had a lot of fun with the film. But the first draft, we bit off more than we could chew. Maybe some would argue that still bit more than we can chew. And he's referring to Eddie Brock and the Venom symbiote sort of being shoehorned into the movie where he would have been a sixth villain just for the sake of it, but really there was no time for that. And he also admits there was barely time for anything they did in the first place. So all of that being said, I think they did it just right. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of Venom in his time in the MCU. I'm not sure why they chose to bring him over, other than the opportunity gave Sony the chance to establish a connection by leaving that little piece of symbiote left over where Peter Parker is. The obvious connection there is that eventually that piece of symbiote will meet up with Peter Parker, and they save it for a different film. The movie was really meant to focus on Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, the villains that were the counterparts to those protagonists and the antagonists. It was wrapping up that sort of nostalgia and the previous iterations of Spider-Man. Venom is a new villain, obviously not for Tobey Maguire because there was the Topher Grace version of that character, but Venom, this Tom Hardy, Eddie Brock, when you step back and think about it, he didn't have a connection to any of these characters, definitely not the antagonists and for sure not the protagonists. He would have been a fish out of water in that final scene. Doctor Strange was even connected in some way. All of these characters had a story arc that was moving through each other. Venom would have just truly been the outlier. So I'm glad that they left him on the bench and can save that for a future feature film. And as we've been reporting on for, it feels like a million years here at the channel, since 2019, so what, 3 years, the eventual Venom Tom Hardy, Tom Holland, that's all going to go down. That crossover will happen. Might as well make it its own film now that the symbiote has had an opportunity to cross into the MCU. He'll hook up with Peter Parker somewhere and then eventually cross back over. That will lead to a modern Sinister Six. That's why they're developing characters like Morbius, developing characters like Kraven, which was featured one of the most prominent villains that was up in the multiverse cracks that you can make out for sure. That's going to be with none other than Quicksilver's Aaron Taylor Johnson. They're going to make a modern day Sinister Six. It eventually will cross over with Tom Holland's Peter Parker. As I mentioned in the prologue, how that's going to happen, we still have no idea. That's yet to be seen. But in the meantime, it's in the cards for sure. Not forcing him into the final battle for this film, I think, was an excellent idea. As a moviegoer and someone who thinks that they almost nailed an impossible movie, they made the right choice with that. I know there are a lot of fans who are excited for this future, but we're going to have to wait and see. Guys, let me know all your thoughts down in the comments. How do you think Peter Parker, Tom Holland's Peter Parker, is eventually going to find his way back over to the Sony universe? How do you think those characters are going to cross over? And more importantly, what's going on with that Morbius film? Exactly what universe is that set in? We're going to find out this month. It's crazy to think that movie is finally coming out. The first trailer came out over 2 years ago. But as always, leave all your feedback down in the comments quickly. Let's jump into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. All right, we're still giving away a PlayStation 5 now at 920,000 subscribers, which we're literally going to hit today or tomorrow. Maybe the day after, but that's about it. So if you want to be entered to win, all you got to do, hit the subscribe button. That'll automatically enter you to win all the giveaways here at the channel. Also, leave a comment down below on this video because it's truly random. The more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. All winners, when announced, will be announced at the end of videos the same way we're doing here. The best way to keep up with the content has always been to hit the notification bell with all notifications turned on. And as always, if you like today's video, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the like button. My name's Michael Roman. You can find me in a couple of places, Instagram and Twitter at IamFires. You can also find me on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Apple, iTunes, wherever you listen to original music under the name All Fires, including the 2 songs you heard in the background of this video, plus some other singles. I would sincerely appreciate you checking that out if you want to support me, but otherwise, no worries. Thanks for checking this channel out. I hope you guys had a wonderful new year, a happy new year as we bring in 2022. Whatever your New Year's resolution is, whatever your hopes and dreams are for this year, I hope you can achieve them. It's going to be an awesome year for superhero films. I'm actually excited for some DC films as well, which we'll be covering this year. Thanks so much for checking out the channel. Stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.